Hello, welcome back to the Neopets the Darkest Faerie Speedrun tutorial series. This is part 5. If this is the first of these videos that you're catching, please make sure that you start at part 1, otherwise this video really won't make any sense. So in the previous video, we covered getting into Illison's Glade and defeating Narfus, and in this part we're going to cover getting out of Illison's Glade as well as making our way back into Mirrodale Castle and completing Act 1. So starting right where we left off, your camera's probably going to face something like this way. So you want to turn around 180 degrees towards this way, and immediately you want to swipe at these bushes right here, okay? These have nags in them, which are good as consumables. They're ways to get extra health ups and stuff. But you also need to make sure you at least get something out of this. For whatever reason, after very specific cutscenes, the game will, for whatever reason, prevent you from being able to do ledge flies, and grabbing an item for the first time will actually reset that and allow you to do ledge flies. So it's very critical that you look in here for nags. If you don't get a nag from here, what you do instead is avoid this guy. You go back the way you came, and there should be a Chocoto patch up here that you can break as well. But I'm going to be avoiding that for right now. Hopefully you've already got consumables and you don't need to worry about them anymore. Okay, so once you get the neg, or any nags that are here, I recommend just grabbing all of them. You want to make your way around the bend and climb up this cliff and up these vines to get to the sledge. Sorry about that. I'll move my phone real quick. Okay. There we go. So I'm going to go into the hack menu to demonstrate something here. You don't need, So you don't need the hack menu, but I'm going to show you this so that this part makes sense and you get a little bit of a better understanding of some of the more ledge fly based mechanics. So if you look at that GRV level, it's the second from the bottom in that list of numbers that you see. That's currently at 0.30, and now it's at 1. So what that value is it's a modifier on towards gravity, which impacts the speed at which he falls. So right now it's at 1, so whenever you're on the ground, it's at 1, and that's what keeps Tor glued to the ground. So as you can see when we hold L2, that's why he falls so fast off of the cliff. This is also where you can save if you're vanilla, by the way. Just take the waterboard. Anywho, so you notice that the gravity is at 1.0, and then when I jump, it goes to 0.30, okay? One of, sort of a, I guess an exploit in this game is that when you jump and grab a ledge, like this one right here, it doesn't reset your gravity back down to 1 when you conclude the ledge grab. So it puts you at this lower state of gravity. And the gravity modifier that you have can impact to some degree the way that your ledge fly's angle is at. So sometimes you can get like higher ledge fly angles at lower gravity values, right? So when you approach this ledge, I want you to actually jump before you perform this next ledge fly. What that will do is it'll reset your gravity back to 1.0, and in my opinion, this makes it a little bit easier to perform, okay? So we've jumped, which means that our gravity's at 1.0, so we should be good to go. For this ledge fly, what I do is I walk up to this leaf, kind of close to the edge, not like super crazy close, but kind of have my foot on part of the leaf. And then I hold down L2 to pivot Tor, rotate the camera, and I have Tor, so there's two like tall, long streaks of moss on this wall here. I rotate Tor such that his head is inside of this moss texture, okay? It's a little bit dark green compared to sort of like the brown color of the wall, so this really big one right here, okay? And then I perform a ledge fly. So I'm actually a little far away, so I'm gonna inch a tad bit closer and then perform a ledge fly like I showed you how to do last video. And that should get you through the wall, and if you hold a bit away, that should put you out of bounds, okay? And that'll get you right about here. So I'm gonna go ahead and go back inbounds, assuming the game will let me. There we go. And I'm going to give you a couple more examples of this just so that you have it on video footage that you can refer to if you're having trouble with it, okay? So again, I climb up here, I jump, and then I approach here. This one's pretty lenient, and again, your positioning with regards to the where your feet are with regards to where the ledge is can impact the angle that you get. Most angles will work. Super like steep angles that send you towards the ground generally don't work. They don't clip you far enough into the geometry here. So there's a good example. There is, I might not be able to replicate it, so you'll have to take my word. But if you get a ledge fly that sends you at a straight line, so no descent at all, it's going to take a little bit longer before Tor gets a ledge grab or gets stuck or something. So if you get a ledge fly that is like that, then don't freak out because it is savable. It will just end a little bit later than some of these other ledge fly setups that I'm performing. So I'll show you one more time. So jump, approach the leaf here, get somewhat close, and then pivot towards that texture, ledge fly. Just like that. And then once you inevitably fall down, just kind of walk in the opposite direction, and you should be good to go here, okay? So now, as you run forward, you'll eventually get stuck by an invisible wall right here. Just jump over it. And we're gonna run towards that run towards that river and sort of angle a bit towards the left. What we're gonna do is perform an up warp into the river, right into the part of the river that sort of is like, oh, you've drowned. Let's respawn you. And so we're gonna kind of run over to this side, kind of where this rock is, and it should eventually pull us up into it. Right about there. Then hold L2 and just run straight forward into the next bit of water. That'll actually teleport you a bit further down the path, which saves a couple of seconds of movement. And then, as you improve, you can put in a potion here. Activating a potion of Mirka Speed can impact how ledge flies work. So generally speaking, if you're doing a ledge fly at first, I would not recommend being under the influence of a Mirka Speed potion. But as you start to get the feel for how they work, it'll get a bit you'll be a bit more comfortable using the Mirka Speed potions. But I would avoid using them if you approach a ledge fly for right now. Okay, so this could be a good spot for a safety save here. We're going to be doing another ledge fly, but pay attention to the way that I move through this section. Okay, what we're going to do is move kind of to the left and around this tree and this rock to the left side. And so what I'm attempting to do here is avoid spawning in a bunch of enemies, which will make this ledge fly much easier. I should also note that if you do accidentally spawn in the enemies, like this guy right here, you can kill them if you want to. Or if you're really trying to save time, because it's pretty hard to kill this guy, then you can also perform a mega jump. I can actually show you how to do that mega jump since I managed to kill him. But if you don't like the ledge fly here, you can do a mega jump in order to get to the other side, and I'll attempt to show that off as well. But what you want to do is get over to here, and then kind of sidle off again, and re-grab the ledge, and then just perform another ledge fly. And then you should get a pretty much straight-angled ledge fly right there that puts you on this ledge. So generally the rule of thumb is that you will ledge fly through walls, but get stopped by floors, or what's considered to be a floor, right? So we can just ledge fly straight to that sort of mound and not have to worry all that much. So since that enemy's not in our way, we can go ahead and go for this again. Generally speaking, you want to try to make sure there are no enemies in your way when you're performing a ledge fly, because Tor will sometimes rotate towards them. So here's another example. Just like that. This is one of the easier ledge flies, since it's just a straight angle. And then for reference, I'll show you what a mega jump across this gap looks like. Again, I would probably just stick with the ledge fly, but if you accidentally spawn in the enemy there, like I did, I would recommend using the mega jump because it's more likely to be reliable here. So back up a little bit from the ledge before you perform the mega jump, because you will be moving forward before your second jump. Okay, so we go ahead and hit square, circle, hold forward, X and select. That was a bit early. Okay. Just like that, and you can clear the same gap that you would with the ledge fly here. Okay. So now once you get here, I would go ahead and activate a potion of miracle speed. And we're just going to run straight through this wall. And we're going to fall off of this edge right here and sort of continue along this way. There we go. Continue along through here, and then you should eventually, as you start to kind of turn left, you'll see this tunnel. Now what this tunnel is it loads in Shadow Glen Woods. So what we're going to do is we're going to make our way up to the very edge of the tunnel, and there's a very small bit of the floor of the tunnel that extends out of bounds. We're going to upwarp to it, touch it, but not move so far forward that we go inside the wall. So I'm going to approach it, point my camera up, and then as I get closer, I'm going to start nudging my way towards it while holding L2. And you'll see I eventually stand on top of it. Now once you land here, just hold backwards, and then jump once you hit the ground. And that'll get you over the invisible wall. Okay? So now once we're here, once you fall off of that tunnel, kind of head more towards the right. You want to stay kind of away from that forest a bit, and you should eventually see the screen clear. Okay? And keep holding forward a bit. So what we're doing is set up to go out of bounds to reach a debug trigger to load in the interior of Mirrodale Castle's courtyard. That was originally supposed to be there as a part of a Act 3 sequence that got cut from the final game. But because the devs left the data for the trigger in the game's code, we can actually reach there from out of bounds to get into Mirrodale Castle, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing. So what I'm looking for is I'm kind of headed just in the same direction, kind of towards all these mountains. So that's the woods to the left of us, so we're kind of just heading in between and a little bit towards the right, but you don't want to go too far to the right. So as you kind of go here, what you're going to see is... Where's my X? There it is. You're going to see this grass plane where my X is. You want to stay pretty far away from that, because if you get too close to that, it will load in the wrong area, and you're better off just go... If that happens, just find your way inbounds and death warp, and then try again. That would be my recommendation. But what we're trying to do, I'll try to see if I can't show this via the zone map. I'm not sure if it'll be close enough to render. But what we're trying to do, I believe, it's been a while since I've done this with the zone map. What we're trying to do is avoid that big red section right there. That red section is no bueno. That's what's going to cause the wrong bit of the outskirts to load in. So you want to avoid that at all costs, okay? So the way that I go about doing that is I make sure that I keep this plane, that grass plane I was pointing at, in the distance of my camera so that I can stay away from it. I'll go ahead and pop another potion to make this a bit faster. But once you clear past that plane, you want to take a 90-degree turn to the right and start heading forward. And then as these sort of rock things clear over you, you'll see this tower, and you're going to start heading towards it. 1,000. Okay. So after you see this clear, you're going to go 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,000, 6, 1,000, and then you're going to turn, okay? We are still trying to avoid that red piece of sort of bad geometry that we saw in the zone map. So what you want to do is, after counting out 6 full seconds, turn your camera from the tower 90 degrees to the right. And what you'll see are these different castle spires. Line tore up with those castle spires and start running forward, okay? We're going to keep running this way for a bit. And make sure you don't veer off too far to the right, okay? Now, the cue that I'm going to look for is when... Okay, so there's 4 castle spires here that you can see the bottoms of. When the bottom of the second from the back, so this one upcoming right here, I stop, turn 90 degrees to the right, and then I start running forward. And then once you see Shadow Glen in the back there unload, stop. Then you've hit the trigger. So we have just loaded in the Mirrodale courtyard, or castle courtyard. So what you do now is you open up the cloak because we can't see at the moment, and uncloaking by attacking will reset the camera and allow us better control. It is technically possible to navigate to the door that we want to go to without vision, but I would suggest not doing that. So from here, what you want to do is, I would highly recommend making a save here for practice for these next couple of strats. But what you do is you could land basically in the map here. You can land in this kind of, if this is like an upside down sea, you kind of can land anywhere on this right side of the upside down sea where this kind of park is. So just make your way sort of to the this top area here and head for the door. So normally that's going to be right by the save point, so feel free to make a save here if you'd like, or just make it in the next room if you have the hack pack, and just go through the door. Alright, so this next ledge fly is technically optional. We just need to go to the cutscene trigger that will activate the escape sequence for the end of Act 1. But I recommend learning this because it allows you to avoid a bunch of enemies, which if you're starting out can be really nice if you're trying to cut consumables. So what I do is I go up to Tor's bed and I do a ledge fly off of it. Now, when you're trying to jump on top of this thing, try to jump from a distance because you can't really ledge grab up this thing. Tor kind of just gets stuck. So just try to do a flat jump on top of it from a distance. Okay? Approach this edge of the bed. You can pretty much do this from like any distance. This is a very lenient ledge fly. All we're gonna do is just do a ledge fly off this bed, just generally facing this wall. Just like that. And you're gonna see the camera pop up, and then I take a couple of steps, and then you'll see that we're all the way up here. So that room right there, where that circular area is, that's where we just did the ledge fly. Now, for whatever reason, in Meridel Castle, the y=0 plane that where we kind of chill out if we're really far out of bounds, it's above the first floor in Meridel Castle for some reason. So by doing that ledge fly, we can get up to here. And so what I'm going to be doing is you can kind of see there's like a gap between rooms where that door is over there. Let me see if I can point to it. So this kind of gap all around here is where we want to go. If we start walking towards any of these rooms over here, that'll put us back in bounds. So what we want to do is start approaching this part right here, okay? So what we're going to do is while we're up here, I keep my camera pointed down by pressing up on the right stick, and I look down. Now, depending on how your ledge fly goes, you will most likely be at that decreased gravity level, which is what you want, okay? If you're not, it's still possible to do this, but it's a little more precise because you fall faster. Alright, so what I'm doing is I'm going to kind of this fake hallway where there's no rooms below me, and I'm kind of just walking on top of that for a bit. Now, our next goal, in order to hit this cutscene trigger, we want to go to this sort of gray protrusion that's right here, okay? So the way that we're going to do this is we're going to hold down L2, which is that combat strafe. So that's going to keep us from, like, instantly falling as soon as we kind of leave the y=0 plane. And then we're just going to hold forward towards that room, okay? So line yourself up, nudge as close forward as you want, and then you just hold forward. And you fall right in. Cool. Alright, now for this next sequence, I'm not going to show you the world record strat here because it's really, really hard, and you really shouldn't learn it for a really long time. Not until you're at like my level or Monster's level when it comes to running this game. But what I will show you is an alternate ledge fly that will let you skip most of this sort of long cat and mouse sequence here. So we're going to skip the FNV, and we're going to immediately run towards the door to try to lure the enemies into breaking down the door for us. So just run behind, run towards the door, and then kind of move left and right, and hopefully they will hit the door eventually. Cool. Now you want to go to this middle pillar on the right, because they will knock it down and create something that we can ledge fly. Okay. So the ledge fly is the same inputs as we've been doing before. you want to jump and grab this ledge, turn around with the L2 pivot, and then perform the ledge fly. Just like that. And then what that'll do is it'll launch... Oh. What the heck? Interesting. Okay, where are we now? Fascinating. They have not had me take it here before, so I'm going to try that again. New things happen to you every day, I suppose. Okay. Let's try this again. So, a little more to the right. I think I was a little too... You don't want to be parallel to the wall. You want to be kind of facing this torch. I apologize for making that mistake and misleading the people. Interesting. This usually works for me, so... Although, to be fair, it's been a little bit since I've done this setup, so please be patient with me. We'll go more like this one. There we go. Okay, so you just go straight through the torch, and that should put you up here. Perfect. Okay. So let me show you that angle one more time. Give you one more good example. And again, I would recommend saving before you get to this segment so that you can practice this. So aim for the torch. Do a ledge fly. Didn't do a ledge fly for some reason. Make sure I don't die here. That'd be something. Just like that. Okay. Weird angle. Interesting. Just like that, doesn't it? See, if they hit you, just re-grab. There you go. You want the straight angle ledge fly, and that should put you right into the spot. Okay, perfect. So once you're up here, that sort of room with the cross beams right there, that's sort of the throne room. So you want to go around that, okay? So we go all the way around it, and then there's this hallway to the left of that cross beam ceiling room. So hold down L2, and then run into the hallway, and then you run right into the cutscene trigger. And then that's it. You've made it to the end of Act 1. So that's definitely a ledge fly I would recommend practicing. The angle there, and you really just need to make sure that you are as close to that ledge as possible in order to get a straight angle to send you right through the wall to where you want to go. Okay? So that's pretty much all I have for this video. In the next video, I will be covering Act 2 primarily.
Where could he have gone?
So until then, let me know if you have any feedback or questions. And we will see you all in the next video part. Thank you so much.